Welcome to the Millennial Life Coaches podcast. At MLC, our mission is simple: add value to help you take on massive action towards your life goals. Here, we feature amazing coaches from all over the world, share compelling stories, and discuss proven practices to help keep your energy high and in the flow. Learn more about MLC at millenniallifecoaches.com.
Hello and welcome to another episode of How to Get Ahead with Millennial Life Coaches. I am one of your hosts. I'm Lorna Taylor and I'm joined by Judith Korsgren today. And I think we're going to be discussing some big questions and big topics around life lessons and culture and some of the big themes in our lives. So welcome to the podcast, Judith.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
How have you been? How has your summer been?
Yes, it has been a mixed bag, actually, both ups and downs. Maybe it's often like that, but I have enjoyed time with family, my three kids, and had some struggling issues with growing young adults.
What's been a highlight? What's been a good thing that's happened in the summer or over the last?
Highlight. Yeah, definitely being able to spend time with my three kids. I have three kids who are 27, 24, and 22, and the eldest one's married, and we got a few days away, and we live quite spread out, so that was very nice to spend time with them. That was definitely a highlight.
Perfect. Now, I normally do an intro, tell everyone about you as a coach, as a business person, but actually, I'd like you to introduce yourself because often I summarize it in maybe a word or two and I don't do it justice. So how would you introduce yourself as a coach with everything that you bring to the table?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think if I'm focusing on me as a coach and what I bring to the table, one of the things I definitely bring is that I'm a mix of three cultures. As I was born and grew up in the UK and in England, and then I moved to Sweden as a young adult.
Yeah, I can
Married
hear you
very
in
young.
yeah.
Yeah. Married very young, the age of 21, and moved to Sweden. My husband was Swedish. And then I also spent 10 years, or we as a family spent 10 years in Paraguay in Latin America. So that definitely the mix of cultures, as well as having lived in Sweden in highly multicultural area. It was actually in Sweden that when my kids were very young, um, uh, I learned most about cultures. It was 98% immigrant people from all over the world, and I'm very curious about this and perspective and languages and yeah, different people's way of doing life. So that's definitely one big thing. The other big thing that maybe connects to that is transitions. Everything from that moving country to different times in life, marriage, singleness, children. My husband died very suddenly when we were in Paraguay, so grief, death. Um, and even transitions in the way we look at life, what's important to us, how to connect our why with our what. And that goes into the other big focus in my coaching, which is life purpose. Not just what am I doing, but why am I doing it? Who am I? How do I show up? I think those things connect a lot. And then spinning around in that, play is really important for me.
Okay. Yeah.
A big part of finding the playful, um, even in the hard times. I like improvisation theater. Life is improvised, but I think that it's so important to find play, and even in tough times, and to be playful with the questions. It just also allows our brain to make room for new possibilities if it's playful, if we don't make it too serious,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
it'll open up possibilities. So yeah, that's a little bit of a.
Oh, wow. And where are you living now then?
I am now living in Stockholm, the
Oh,
capital of Sweden.
you are
Yes,
in Sweden. Okay.
yes.
So how was it bringing up your children in Sweden with Sweden culture and all of that, maybe compared to the UK?
Right. Well, as I say, I moved to Sweden when I was a young adult. So they were all born here. So the first, my eldest was 11 when we moved to Paraguay. So it was both bringing up in Sweden and in Paraguay. Sweden, it's very interesting with perspectives because when I first moved to Sweden with my British glasses, I thought Swedes don't like their kids. They put them in daycare when they're like almost a year and then go off and work. And then the more I was in Sweden, I started to shift the perspective to Swedes really like their kids. They have a high status. There is a lot of room. Nobody's embarrassed when their kids have a tantrum in the street. Um, and there's a lot of focus on children. And you get mandatory 1 year paid leave if you're working to be with your kids, which you can share exactly how you like. So it's amazing on that. Then, yeah, there are always different focuses in society that I can like or not like. As I say, my kids, when my kids were really small, we were in a highly immigrant area, and I think that was really good. I like this that they got to see many kinds of people, many walks of life, as they were growing up. And then in Paraguay was a very different system. If in Sweden you're encouraged to think very much for yourself, reflect, criticize your teachers. In Sweden, in Paraguay, it's the opposite. Never criticize your teachers. Write down what's written on the board. If we take exams in Sweden and you're saying what someone else has said, you will get low marks. In Paraguay, you need to say exactly what the teacher has said to get high marks. So very different cultures, but Paraguay is a community culture. Family is important. People are there for you. Sweden is very individualistic. So yeah.
Mm. It's so interesting that you've almost seen like you've seen an education system from three different perspectives, and they're all very, very different in their approach.
Yeah.
I'm only curious about that because I used to be a teacher and I've got two young boys. They're 7 and 9. So I'm just sort of thinking about how well they're doing in school. Are they enjoying it? Is this a good environment for them? And it's just so interesting to see how different countries have such different approaches to their education system. And like you say, like how much they value independence or you know, qualifications and independent thinking and all of that. It's completely cultural, completely cultural.
Absolutely. And then I also worked as a school counselor in Sweden when I came back from Paraguay and saw the school system from another perspective. And I would say also in the years that I was in Paraguay, the school system changed. In Sweden, there was um, uh, what shall I say, a bit of an aversion maybe to putting to assessing kids too early, giving them grades. When I left for Paraguay, when I came back, that had totally changed. And they were giving grades to children very quickly, very early, and a lot of focus on the grades, which was very tough for a lot of children. Um, and it's tough. School is not easy
Mm,
on the kids. I was working with high school kids. It's a very special age, and difficult. A lot is focused on needing to be extrovert, needing to be able to deal with big classes, um, very much self-led. You need to have that your own motivation. If your brain works in a different way, that's tough. Even if there are a lot of resources, it's tough. It's hard work for kids.
yeah. Oh, I'm fully preparing myself for when they're teenagers in secondary
Yeah,
school. Those are
yeah,
going to be the hard years. When I thought the hard years were then when they were in nappies and, up in the night,
yeah,
I'm preparing for the harder years coming with all the dramas at school and the emotions
yeah,
and
yeah.
everything. Everyone said it just gets harder. Brilliant.
Hey there, listeners. This episode of How to Get Ahead with Millennial Life Coaches is proudly sponsored by CoachCore.
CoachCore is an all-in-one platform built specifically for coaches by coaches. We get it. Running a coaching business can feel overwhelming with all the tech, marketing, and administrative work involved. That's why we created CoachCore, to take the stress out of those details and help you focus on what truly matters, your clients and the transformation you provide.
Exactly. Whether you're managing your calendar, tracking your clients' progress, or assessing a comprehensive library of resources, CoachCore is designed to streamline your operations. Our platform automates the technical side of things so you can spend more time doing what you love, coaching and creating an impact.
And we know that coaches come in all shapes and sizes with different needs. That's why CoachCore is customizable, so it grows with you. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out or if you're scaling your business. Our platform supports every step of the way.
So if you're a coach who's ready to simplify your tech, save time and money, and grow your business, CoachCore is here for you. We believe that coaches should be empowered with the right tools to build a sustainable, thriving practice. So why not take a moment and check us out?
So visit us at coachcore.ca to learn more and start your journey toward business growth and tech freedom. And trust us, you don't want to miss the difference CoachCore can make in your coaching practice.
Thanks for tuning in to Millennial Life Coaches podcast. Let's get back to the episode.
There are tough periods for kids, of course, for parents too, but in my own, I think every age has its beauty. I mean, it's tough in some ways, but it's also really interesting. I was fearing the teenage when I had kids, all you hear, but I have to say I really loved it, because you get to know your children in a different way, but you have to have another way of meeting them, much more curiosity. And that is the balance when you're like, how much do I pull back? How much do I go in? And as a school counselor as well. So they're small, but they're big and they're bright and they know things, but they also really need you. But if you can stop, I mean, coaching is really helpful. And I was learning coaching when at least the first two kids were in their teenage, and it was so helpful to stop, think, I need to ask questions here. My kids started having aversion to the questions too, because, they come home from school and you ask, how's your day been? And they say good. And I say always, what kind of good is good?
Oh,
As a coach. Tell me, and because I want to know more,
yeah.
and that's a really good way of drawing it out. But I will also have them, they would get it after a while and they would say, Mom, don't coach me. It's just good. Okay.
Oh, okay. So I've got some good years to look forward to. Some
Good,
interesting
yes, there's a
things.
lot of, yeah.
Perfect. Well, it sounds like you've got such a wealth of experience across cultures and perspectives, and from your counseling experience, you've got all of this that you can bring forward to your coaching work now. So tell us a little bit about how that kind of filters through to the work that you're doing at the moment.
Yeah. Also a good question. Well, I think it is, I mean, the word filter is very good. I use the word glasses a lot. I think in general, not just in coaching, I think for all of us, we need to be aware of our filters, the glasses that we have on. Maybe it's a slightly not the answer to your question, but the other day I was talking to a team of North Americans that are in Sweden, learning about Swedish culture, and gave an introduction on something called cultural intelligence, so the way we look at things. And one of the comment from one of them afterwards was, well, I came into this training thinking I was going to learn more about how to see Swedish culture, but I realized I need this for every day in my life. And we live in a world that's becoming more and more polarized, where we sort people into our groups. These are the people I think about, I get on with, and then we other the others, and then we silo ourselves down into this is the way I think, and especially with social media and the algorithms give me all the things I already know. And then we lose the possibility to get different perspectives, to put on the glasses and say, what am I missing here? So I think in coaching, as in life in general, for me, it's all these things are a wealth that enable me to know I don't know. Sometimes I say my superpower as a coach is I don't know anything, or I know that I don't know. The more I know, the more I realize I don't know. I think Einstein has said this. The greatest intelligence is realizing you don't know,
Mhm.
greatest form of intelligence. And I think the more I coach, the more fascinating I find people to be. So, of course, I have this to bring in. I have these things to bring into coaching. I'm aware of these things with culture, with cultural values, with personality, with life purpose questions, with transition. I particularly enjoy coaching people that are in this transitional space.
Mhm.
When they're aware, I'm not where I was, I'm not quite where I'm going, I'm in here. Whether it's a trapeze, you see it as, or a messy middle, or I let go of one rung, I'm not on the next one yet.
Mhm.
It's uncomfortable,
Mhm.
but it's a great place to dig into things, to look at what's important, to stop, to pause, to reflect. We so often do one thing and then we run on to the next thing without giving ourselves time to pause, to reflect, which I think is so important. So, in answer to that question, I think I have all these things in a way as tools or perspectives to bring into coaching. And then um, that curiosity at the same time of who are you? Who are you that I have here? What's important to you? And that would definitely be one of my big focuses in what is really important to you. Why is that really important now? And how can we help you connect into that? Because what you do is going to change. We can help you get where you want to go. But these deeper whys, they are going to help you both keep going when things are tough, um, land in yourself and what's important, and give greater value to the people around you.
Mhm. Wow. And I know when we were talking before, you gave me a little bit of information about some of the big changes that have happened in your life and some of the big transitions that you've been through.
Yeah.
Are you okay to tell us a little bit about some of the things that you've also transitioned through and kind of how you managed to do that, how you've come out the other side, what the roller coaster was going through that transition?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would say my life seems to be a constant transition. Sometimes I feel a bit like a vagabond through these things. And I mean, the truth is that we are always in transition. I think that this is interesting in itself. We have multiple transitions happening all the time, whether they're biological, physiological, psychological, things inside and outside of us. Somebody talked about this, that we can sometimes be in a life quake, like because there's so many transitions happening at the same time, and it's interesting to be aware of them. So we can be more aware of the really big ones that are obvious, but there are so many levels of those. Some of the really big ones for me, as I say, one moving from one country to another is a massive transition. Learning language, learning culture. You might think that moving from the UK to Sweden, well, it's not that far, but there are big cultural differences, and there can be subtle, and you clash up against them, and you feel uncomfortable, and you feel outside. And that question of belonging, where do I belong? Where do I fit in? Then other things can feel more, oh yeah, I quite like this. This fits more with who I am. And then from Sweden to Paraguay, and then actually from Paraguay back to Sweden was much more difficult. And then, as I said, a really big one was losing my husband very suddenly whilst we were in Paraguay, and how it infects. I mean, I was aware of that before I did any more studies or understanding of how transitions work, that it affected my identity. Who am I? Who am I now? Every transition affects who am I. Okay, now I'm single again. I'm a widow. I'm only 50 years old and I'm already a widow. What does that mean? It affects friendships and relationships. It affects my my purpose or how that works out. Actually, in that particular one, I was very aware that in a way, nothing had changed. I mean, massive things had changed, but what I felt was my purpose or my calling or what was important didn't change. And what was really, really important, like getting back to where my kids were, some of the things I was involved with, they didn't change. I have a strong faith. So this was also for me, it was like standing back and being aware of, faith holds you or God holds you, but just seeing it really does. This really does hold. It's like, oh, I've said it does, but it really does hold. Um, and some beauty in the middle of that. And that this may be of something that I mentioned. This was actually somebody coached me when I came back to Sweden and I was really struggling and filling my messy middle then I called my lost landscape. Like I'm lost. I have no idea where I am or where I'm going. And this is so difficult because I've had clarity of purpose and identity. And now I'm stuck and it was the beginning of the pandemic and I don't know. And and he was really trying to help me in different ways and struggling to connect. And then he realized that it was Christian that have faith. And he, I think, shared the only story he knew, biblical story about the three wise men following a star. And he said, "So what's your guiding star?" And he offered me it in a beautiful way, like a metaphor. And I thought, I don't know if that's helpful because I don't think I'm getting out soon. But okay, they had these three gifts. What are the gifts? And it struck me that I really needed three things there. One, I really needed to know I'm not alone. Who's with me here? That's so important. Who's with me? Who do I have with me? Both from in my faith with God, but also looking out for what are the people. Two, I'm not going to be here forever. I needed hope. I won't be lost forever. That was a tough one. And then three, I need to know there's treasure here, even here. There is good stuff. There is things that will come out, and not just in there will be, of course, lessons learned and things, but there's beauty even here. To stop and see in the middle of the lostness, the mess, in the middle of this frightening lost landscape. It's quite beautiful with the mist. I like mist over, morning mist and stuff. Those three things, and those I've really taken with me actually in other transitions, just stopping and realizing, okay, who's with me? Hope. And even if I need someone else to give me hope, you won't be here forever. And what's the treasure here? So, yeah, those
Those
were
are
powerful.
three really great questions anybody could ask themselves,
Yeah,
sit with and reflect on. So
yeah,
can we just recap those? So who is with me?
yeah. To know I'm not alone, who's with me? Yeah,
I won't be here forever. There's
yeah,
hope that it will change. I will get through this. I'm not going to be stuck here forever.
yeah.
And there's beauty in where I am right now, even in
Right.
chaos. There's something good happening right now.
Mm. There's treasure. There's treasure here. Sometimes we have to dig deep.
Mm.
Sometimes it's obvious, something. I think that one is there even in, this has been a difficult year. In different ways. I've struggled with other transitions. I got a cancer diagnosis at the beginning of the year. I've had major surgery. I've had my youngest son has struggled with mental health. And interestingly enough, before I got the diagnosis, I decided that I would also take time every morning to just look at three things that I was grateful for, three gifts and not really great big things, but even just sitting and seeing, yeah, like that, the mist, or listening to a bird singing, or just small things, the taste of my coffee in the morning, or whatever it was. So, the treasure can be everything from that, very small things like that, that seemingly small, that actually really, really big, to other treasures. The relationships I get because I have cancer or because I lost my husband in Paraguay. It was such a privileged to be in a community culture then, but also my own brokenness made way for relationships with people that otherwise maybe wouldn't have made those relationships. And my need made an opening for our relationships and also for other people to grow.
Well, that really is the treasure in the.
That's a treasure.
Yeah. Wow. You've been through a lot recently. You've been through some big changes.
Yeah.
How would you, if you were reflecting on yourself and what's happened in your life recently, how, like, what's on the horizon? What can you see happening next for you?
Another good question. Um, in one way, who knows?
I was just
Yeah,
going to
go
say,
on.
I've learned a lot of good questions from all the
You
coaches
have.
that I've spoken to. So I feel
I
like
mean,
I've sort of absorbed some of this coaching power to
yes.
ask good
It's
questions.
excellent, and actually, I learn, as I say, I learn a lot from people that I coach as well, because I find people often coach themselves. They stop and reflect, and sometimes I'll even say, "Okay, what's the question I need to ask you?"
Yes.
That's
And
so powerful. But so this is a good question for me. In one way, and I'm processing it out, I have no idea because so many things come out. Life comes out and hits you from all kinds of. So I'm aware that anything can happen at any given time. So I am definitely not the master of my horizon or my future. This is something that's become aware of that I've become aware of. There are few things. There are things I can affect, and this is another thing I think is important to see. What can I affect? I mean,
mm,
of course, I can have dream and visions of things, and I can also affect how I show up in the middle of these things and this is why the why is so important, I think, and who I'm going to be and in the world that is, because I can affect that. I can change that. I can do things about that. I can't change and affect much what's going to come. So in one way, I have no idea because so many things have hit. So, and I'm still landing in some of those things. Um, on the other side of things, this also increases my passion or my desire to accompany others in these places, particularly of transition, major transition. And connecting into this. Who am I? Who am I going to be? I mean, as I say, even if you don't feel like you're facing in your own life major transition from moving to another country or culture or grief or diagnoses, everybody is facing major transitions in the world at large,
mhm,
which we need to reflect upon. Who am I going to be in this? Where am I? Yeah, how is my little life impacting this? How will I be?
mhm,
So again, I don't know if I'm answering your question in that. The horizon, I don't know. The present is both in landing in these things, uh, and what that means to who I am now in this space and what I bring to others, and definitely accompanying people in connecting to that. I want to speak more into that too. It's one of my questions to myself. How do I use the voice that I have? Um, where is my impact? What am I incarnating? What am I affecting here? And then helping others to walk in these spaces,
mhm,
both in coaching, mainly in coaching, but also, I mean, that can of course connect with coaching sometimes in that what people call mental health or well-being, but the being space of it, of who we are, enabling people. That's another thing coaching does, I think, is creating that space in between where I can stop. I can allow myself to stop and pause and reflect and not just run.
mhm.
Somebody wrote this beautiful book in this slowing down to the speed of love,
Oh.
which I think is a really nice phrase in this.
Mhm.
there is this, we live out of fear or we live out of love, and a very broad meaning of this. And I think it's very difficult to live out of love, to listen, to be present in the speed, the high speed. We need to create space to stop, reflect, reconnect. Yeah, the coaching space is one of the ways of doing that, but also building that in to my own life and helping others build that in. Big answer too.
Oh, big answer. Yeah, but they're big questions and they're big concepts. For anyone who is listening or watching and maybe would like some more support from you, or maybe wants to reach out to you, Judith, where would be the best place for somebody to kind of make that contact with you and find out a little bit more about the coaching that you do?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on Millennial Coaches. I am also on LinkedIn, and I have a landing page on Paperbell. We can give the links.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but yes, the easiest ways are probably through the Millennial Coaches or through LinkedIn.
Yep.
Just send me a message.
Perfect. We'll make sure we put all the links
Yeah.
to your profile on our directory, and then your LinkedIn and whatever other links you've given us. We'll make sure that they're with these posts and this episode as well. If you're
Yes.
interested in coaching for yourself, or maybe your community or your team, I know you work with with organizations as well. That might be something that people are interested in, to contact you through there and kind of find a way that you can find the support. Perfect. Thank you so much. I know we haven't even gone through half the questions that I wanted to. Last time when we spoke, we were going to talk about religion, and we were going to talk
That's
about
true.
all sorts of different other massive topics, but maybe we can come back to that on a future episode, maybe.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, wonderful. Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being so open and honest and sharing some of those little nuggets with us, Judith. Yeah, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.